Hey everybody, it's Peggy, and I'm back again with another video, and today's topic is kind of convoluted, so let's see what we can do with this. But the topic is standing up for yourself. So when you are running an online business, it is really tempting to stand up for yourself, and that takes on a lot of meaning for a lot of people. A lot of people are, you can't stand up for yourself because customer this and customer that. And other people are, it's my business and I'll run it the way I want and I'm going to stand up for myself. And they will literally tell people to fuck right off. Literally, put it in writing. Okay? So, how do you find that happy medium where you are able to stand up for yourself in ways that matter while still maintaining a customer service front facing position and not get walked all over and do the thing and do the thing and do the thing? Well, it's hard. It's hard. If you have a customer that is just making your day a living hell, it is really hard not to go, I'm going to do blah. So there are no rules for how this looks. Honestly, there are no rules. How it looks in the day-to-day world is different from how it looks online. And if you are selling, unless you are selling from your own private personal website, there is somebody for these people to go to complain about you. So that doesn't, you're not an employee of Etsy, where I work, where I work my shop from. You're not an employee of Etsy. You're not an employee of Facebook Marketplace. You're not an employee of Amazon, eBay. You're not an employee of any of these. But if the right complaint comes along, you're done. They shut you down. And so let's talk about standing up for yourself. There's a few things that you just cannot do in these online environments because once it's in writing, it's there forever. And so, no, you cannot tell your customers to fuck off. You cannot tell your customers that they're garbage, that they're this, that they're that. You can't do that. You have to be careful how you speak to these people because if there is, and these people, by these people, I mean, I don't mean every single customer. There are customers that are aggressive and rude and whatever, and you just have to suck it up because that just might be who they are and how they communicate, and they don't really mean anything by it, and it's just that personality clash that can get in the way of communication at the best of times. So what I will say is that is the number one thing is just assume that it's a difference in communication styles and treat the customer accordingly and see how that works. Number two, go straight to the social medias and ask for advice. Hey, this person is acting like this. It's really bugging me. How do you think I should respond? Can somebody help me put together a response that's not going to escalate this? I see it in my group all the time, and they're coming back and saying, hey, that was really helpful advice. That really helped. Customer was still an asshole, but at least he didn't open a case, right? So I will say that 24-hour cooling off period is golden. People see a message comes in, a shitty message comes in, and your first impulse is to, oh my God, I'm going to just tell this guy what's what. So that's the first one. Basically, standing up for yourself looks different when it's in writing. And a lot of people, if they're not experienced, because I'm all over Etsy, so that is beginner town. So a lot of people that are opening online businesses, especially since COVID started, like, I mean, you would not believe how many people come flooding into the online market, right? Don't have the experience, and it's not an insult, and it's not a put down, it's not anything. It's just the way life is, and if that's you, then things that you might feel are normal ways that you should be able to respond might be ways that you shouldn't respond, and you just don't have a way to know. So I'm not gonna do a list, and I'm not gonna get too specific. But yes, do not swear at your customer, because if you're taking the time, I might pop off with I swear a lot. I might say fuck in a video, but I am certainly not saying it to a customer. Okay. If you think the customer is ripping you off, if you think they're a scammer, don't say it. Call Etsy and say it to them. Make a complaint. Contact abuse@etsy.com. Keep that in mind. That is the abuse. And yes, they are. Oh my God, Etsy is so busy. It can take them weeks to get back. But abuse@etsy.com. Tell your customer, I don't appreciate the way you're speaking to me. Please don't. Please, especially if you think you've already resolved the issue and they're just coming at you. It's like, yeah, I don't appreciate this. Can you please stop? You can call the customer service line if necessary and ask for an escalation. But standing up for yourself looks different. Standing up for yourself is killing them with kindness now while saying no. You can say no to a customer. You just can't say it. You just can't say, fuck you, no. Okay. Social media is a great place to get ideas on how to respond, on how to express yourself, because you've got the time. They're not shouting it in your face expecting an immediate answer. Keep that in mind. Everything else, like every single situation, has a slightly different nuance of its response. Your product sucks and I want my money back. I'm sorry, I have a no refund policy. Don't write them a book. Don't explain. I'm sorry. Well, don't even say I'm sorry. I will tell you right now. Don't say I'm sorry. Just say it's unfortunate that my product wasn't what you expected, but I do have a no refund policy. I'm unable to help you. Never say I'm sorry. In some communities and some cultures, and God knows when and where, Canadians say I'm sorry. Just that's how we greet each other. But for some people, I'm sorry is I am sorry that I made this horrible, horrible mistake. It's 100% my fault. I should never have done it. They take it as an admission of guilt. Try your best to avoid putting I'm sorry or I apologize unless you really are sorry and you really are apologizing, in which case you really are going, here's your refund. If you fucked up, don't apologize and then tell me you're not doing anything for them. So standing up for yourself is a very different experience when you're doing it in writing. And if that's not something you're experienced with or accustomed to or have a lot of practice at, don't be afraid to reach out to social media just to get help with those things. There's plenty of people around there to help you. And ignore the guy that says, oh, just tell him to fuck off. Oh, I don't deal with scammers. I just tell him you're scamming me and I'm not helping you. Don't do that. You start calling a customer stuff like that. That goes back to something else I mentioned in a previous video. I can't even remember which one now. Hostile interactions. If you are perceived as being the one who is hostile, you can get shut down because it's its sandbox, and they don't even have to tell you why. So, and I've just mentioned in the video I just did, it's not some big major threat that Etsy's out to get you. That is not how this works. Take some time to think about it. If you had somebody coming over to your house to visit that were constantly screaming and shouting at your kids and calling them names, you'd ask them to leave. It's Etsy's business. It's Etsy's sandbox. If that's how you're treating your customers, they're going to ask you to leave it. You may not like it, but it is common sense. Okay, so that's one of the things. So standing up for yourself is really a concept that once you're online, where you have time to stop and think, it's a different thing. Customer says they're not happy with the product. You don't need to stand up for yourself. They didn't like your product. That happens. That's going to happen. You are going to have customers that go, I wasn't happy with this. You don't need to stand up for yourself. There's nothing to defend. They didn't like it. If they're being a dick about it, too bad. So sometimes you are going to be stuck just going, okay. But I have seen, okay. Now, which one was it? Okay, it's happened more than once. So I'm not going to do story time. I'm not going to call it story time because I can't remember the exact stories. I'm just going to give you the Cole's Note compilation version. I've seen this happen more than once. Customer says, here's my complaint. And the seller is like, well, here's why it shouldn't be a problem, and here's why you should like it, and this is wonderful. Nobody's ever complained before. This is what's going on. This is what's going on. This is what's going on. I think you're a scammer just trying to scam me for a free product. I think you just want a refund, and if you think my product isn't all that great, then you should be happy to return it. Why isn't it? Oh my God, because they wanted to stand up for themselves. I stand by my product. Okay, I stand by my product, and I've had people tell me, hey, this isn't for me, and it's like, okay, that's awesome. Thanks for your feedback. I've had people say, oh, I really wish this, it's like, oh, I really like this product, but it's the wrong size for what I need. Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks for your feedback. And then I deal with it. Not everybody's going to love what you do. And I have an amazing customer base. I'm part of a community, and people are like, hey, I like you. I like what you do. Blah, 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 blah. Too bad you don't make this because I don't like this that you make, and I wish you would make this. And it's like, oh, okay. Hey, thanks. But whatever. Okay, and it's not a fuck you, fuck them all attitude. Mind you, I do have an attitude, but that's a different thing. Anyway, standing up for yourself is very, very different in the online world than it is in person. And if somebody says they don't like your product or they have a problem with your product and they're being rude about it, because people just do that. People love the anonymity to be able to, oh, I'm having a bad day This product showed up with a chip in it. This is my last straw moment. Watch me take it out on this guy and get away with it. Customers get away with a lot of shit. I will say to you right now, most customers aren't that bad. They're not. As a matter of fact, most customers are amazing. Most customers, if they have a problem, are going to go, hey, this happened. But if you come back with 3 pages, I was getting into story time, and then I kind of segued away. Okay, so what happened? What happens? And I've seen this happen multiple times in multiple ways. Customer comes in with a complaint. The seller writes them a book. Well, here's what's going on. Here's why it's going on. Here's why I stand by my product. Here's why I think that you're wrong. Blah, 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 blah. And they defend themselves because they're standing up for themselves. Customers going, wow, this is offensive. I'm just not even going to talk to you anymore. And they open a case. And guess what? They get their money back. I'm opening a case because I didn't like this product and the seller went off on me with all this bullshit, calling me names, accusing me of this, implying that I'm an idiot, blah, 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 blah. You can win the battle but lose the war. Okay, that happens. That happens because Etsy will give a refund for customer service. Customer satisfaction. The customer happiness. You make the customer unhappy because you've decided to defend yourself. They have a much better chance of getting a refund. And depending on what you've said, the refund may or may not come from your money versus sometimes Etsy will give a refund from their own money, but they're most certainly not going to do that if you've gone off on the customer. It's like, no, this happened because you started mouthing off. They're not going to have your back, and they're not going to give them their money. They're going to give them your money. Anyway, now this is not to say I always make it sound like some big major. This is the problem. I try to address this stuff, and then I make it sound like this doom and gloom scenario. It's not. I've been doing this for 4 years now. I have never had an escalated issue with a customer based on arguing. Honestly, this is what it ends up being. It ends up being arguing. I've never had a conversation with a customer that devolved into anything more than, hey, this is my problem. Oh, well, hey, these are my solutions. Which would you like to do? Or, oh, hey, sorry, whatever. Hey, I'm happy to replace it. I'm happy to, blah, 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 whatever the heck it is. And, I'm happy to replace it. It's like, I very rarely replace anything. I'm very rarely asked to. It's very rarely an issue that ever comes up. And most of the time, customer says, hey, I'm just checking in on this and blah, 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 blah. But don't worry, I'm going to go ahead and give it to a friend. Do you have blah that would work for me instead? Sure. If you're nice to them, they'll be nice to you. Even the ones who are looking for somebody to get mad at, they can't stay mad if you're nice. Anyway, so standing up for yourself, this particular situation, the person had a complaint. I keep starting and stopping this one. My God, it's like I'm just holding this story hostage. It's like, no, you have to listen to me babble first, and then I'll get to the story. Anyway, so this has happened to several people, and there was a bit of a rash of this recently. And this happened. The customer comes in and says, "This is what I want," and I gotta leave the pens out of reach. Customer comes in, this is what's, oh, I didn't like your product, blah, blah, blah. And the seller escalated it because they always share, oh, this is what I said, what should I say next? It's like, oh, you should have never said what you said. And they did. They come in with just 7 or 8 messages, walls and walls of text. I don't know why they're mad now. It's like, well, because 90% of what you said you didn't need to say. You were being defensive and standing up for yourself when you didn't need to. Or maybe you feel you need to, but is it going to help? Is it going to be beneficial? And so you can explain something to the customer. It's like, wow, that's an interesting observation. I've never had that complaint before. But I'll definitely take that into advisement as I improve my product as I go. Whatever. But this person ended up, the person had bought, I don't know how much money the person had spent, a couple $100. And they ended up getting their money back because this escalated. And the customer who was just simply trying to have a conversation, or at least that's the way that it seemed to a lot of people. That's usually how this seems anyway. There's one particular one that I have in mind, but I can't remember enough of the details. Anyway. Yeah, it's like, but your customer has a right not to like your product. Why did you send them out back all this shit? Well, I was defending myself. I was standing up for myself. I stand by my product. I'm proud of what I do. It's like, absolutely, that's absolutely fine. Why did you say all that shit? They don't have to like it. They're allowed to have their opinions. And now they're so pissed that they've opened a case and want their money back. And for customer satisfaction, because of the way you've been talking to them, they're going to get it. Anyway, standing up for yourself is really a concept that you really need to rethink, rework, and reimagine, because if your friend, your sibling says, "Oh, I don't really like that," and you go, "Oh, what's not to like? That's fine. What's not to like? It's this, it's that, it's this, it's that." That's fine. That kind of standing up for yourself makes sense in face-to-face interactions. When you're talking to a customer, you want to be succinct, to the point, get the point across. You want to do everything in your power, even if they're already pissed off, everything in your power to make sure that they don't get even more pissed off, because you just don't want the drama, you don't want the hassle, and you don't want the back and forth. You want this to be over with. And I'll tell you right now, if the customer's being an absolute dick to you, you have the right, as long as the actual business, if they're just contacting you and saying, your product sucks, okay, thanks for your feedback. I mean, a lot of customers will go off, and not a lot. I mean, I'm saying this badly. I've never had one of these kind of conversations for myself. Never. So this is not some big major, everybody's going to treat you like crap problem, but you can, through all good intentions, end up being the one to escalate a conversation with a customer. So it's your best. It's not to say don't stand up for yourself, but just rethink what standing up for yourself means. Not everybody's going to like what you do. Not everybody's going to get it. Not everybody's going to appreciate it. And you don't need to justify yourself, your product, your process to anybody. You don't. If they don't like it, I'm sorry you don't like it. If they're asking for a refund, address the topic. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't offer refunds. Or, oh, I'm happy to offer you a refund, but you do have to ship it back to me at your own expense. Right? Whatever policies you have, oh, this is what, sorry, it's like, oh, you didn't like it? Okay, well, here's my policies. You can be blunt. You can get to the point. You don't have to kiss ass, but you don't have to send them walls of text defending yourself. That is a great way to escalate a situation. Anyway, that's that. I'm going to let you guys go. You guys don't forget, like, subscribe, ring the bell, do the things, trying to take over the world, and that's how it goes, one subscription at a time. And in the meantime, if you have any questions or any topics that you want to see covered in the future, go ahead and comment below. I love to see what you guys have to say, and I'm going to let you guys go. You guys have a great one. Bye.